We're awaiting Donald Trump. We're going from Jonald to Donald. I can't believe I have to stop watching Streamer You to watch this fat old bitch deny an election 6 years later. Fuck my life. What are the Aussie declares war on China? I don't think there's any. I don't fucking know anymore, man. What is the speech about? Election denial.
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women's sports, crime ravaging our cities.
How is this
and the
guy
whole
the
world
president?
was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of health care is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to TrumpAccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country.
That was a crazy change.
With zero illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is zero. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to Use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels.
It's weird that he's front
We are
loading.
likewise winning.
It's weird that he's front loading so much.
You will see the fruits of that labor very,
I
very
feel like
shortly.
when he front loads this much about how good we're doing, the news is going to be really bad.
Well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election.
Bro will declassify anything but the Epstein files.
Confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly, and that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible.
Did I call it or what?
U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data.
It was his administration.
Tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country, a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say the cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence
Adam
the
McIntyre,
results
think of it,
of
20
the U.S.
bones.
midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said.
Oh, brother. Yeah,
The
everyone
Chinese
that hates
government
Trump is
wanted
actually
US
Chinese. He's
president
literally
to lose
doing
the next
it.
election, and the reason they wanted
I called it.
me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs,
I told
and built
you.
the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately
Joe Biden is
massaged
Chinese.
the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant
What the fuck is
numbers
happening?
of
Adam
burn
McIntyre.
bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were
What are you
supposed to
saying?
be at a different level
Farm and
by
shout out
different
subs. You
people,
got 40K viewers.
incinerated and checked.
Yes.
But it never
Piker
happened.
Broadcasting Service.
Maybe we got
Subscribe
lucky.
to support
We
independent
believe
media
this was
like Adam
not
McIntyre.
done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that was supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied
Another
to
100
about
bones,
the
Jesus
security
Christ.
of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems, dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that.
The NSCOP, thank
Tonight,
you for the
we're
25.
publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States,
Everything that he's quote-unquote
adversaries,
declassifying
including,
is already
at a
shit that we
minimum,
knew about.
Russia, China, Iran, North Korea,
election vulnerabilities
as well
as far as like
non-state
registration
groups
and shit like
have the
that.
capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories,
Adam, with
such as
another
voter
50, what the
registration
hell?
databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could
PBD.
actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig
Delcy
their
told
own
me.
country's elections in
Delcy
2020. and that's what
Rodriguez
they
told
did.
me personally.
This
She told
reporting
me.
included precise details about methods to regime develop.
She's doing pillow talk with
digitally
Marco
alter vote
Rubio.
totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep
Called
they
that
went.
shit too.
This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence
gonna
of
work. The
alleged
idiots are
fraud
strong
by a
and mighty.
large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State
You think
Police
so?
raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned. They couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of
I'm officially no
applications
longer
that they
funded by
produced.
foreign adversaries. I'm
words,
funded by Adam
it
McIntyre
was
with another 50.
Pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review of state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that.
Okay, dude.
Yet,
Sure.
even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and
did
dead
you win
people
the
are
last
listed
election?
and active on the voter rolls. And
This
yet we
happened
still
under
have
his watch
elections
when he was
with
president.
no voter
And then he
ID,
won the last
no
election
proof of
when
citizenship,
Biden was president.
and tens of millions of ballots
What?
floating
None of this
aimlessly
makes sense.
through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections.
How did he
We
win
have
the election
very
is a
important
question I keep
elections
asking
coming
myself.
up. We want those elections, to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately.
Why is Trump even talking about this?
But
He wants to
most
create a
importantly,
just cause.
addressing this crisis of
He wants to get his
election
dumb fuck,
security
stupid
demands that Congress
baboon of a
must
cult
pass
to be
the
on board
Save
with what he does
America
next
Act.
because he knows he's going to get fucking clobbered in the midterm
How
elections.
easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots.
He's only voted by mail. He is a vote by mail voter.
Deployment or
he is only voted by mail in Florida. He does not.
Vacation.
Ah!
These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Oh my fucking God, dude. I don't even know what to say. Okay. Look, I wasn't the only person who clocked it, but yes, he fucking did the everybody that hates me is Chinese, or at least paid for by China, and that Venezuela stole the election. He went back to the Dominion thing, which was crazy. Okay. Wild stuff on that front. All of this stuff has been discussed a million times over. None of it makes sense because he won the last election. So, like, in his world, in his mind, it's like when Obama was president, Donald Trump won the election in 2016. So the system wasn't rigged. But then when Donald Trump was president, somehow China rigged the election in favor of Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden became president and then unfucked the election system so Trump could win again? Like, so the elections are only rigged under Trump. Like, it literally does not make sense. If the elections were rigged and you know, Joe Biden won by cheating, how the fuck did you win again in 2024? But of course, we don't deal in truths any longer, and we don't have a lot of strong critical thinkers in the United States of America. There's tens of millions of people who just will listen to every single thing that he said and then just repeat it verbatim and will demand these changes. But this whole fucking speech was just about demanding the SAVE Act. And everyone on Fox News is going to make it seem like this is the most consequential thing. They're going to bitch and moan about how major networks didn't fucking run it.
Primetime address of a president.
Yeah, they're going to bitch and moan about how major networks didn't run it. Trump is probably going to demand that their licenses are pulled
and put on whitehouse.gov.
Right?
Anyway, here with more on tonight's speech. Aisha Hasni is with us. Aisha, he covered a lot of ground tonight. Yeah. Also, 250,000 illegals. He claims these documents will now show were registered to vote in our country.
And we'll hear from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne.
That was the most consequential lie that he told. 278,000 like illegal voters were registered or something, and the number's probably far higher. I have no idea what the fuck that's coming from. I'm sure there's a good explanation for it.
Bernie Moreno of Ohio had tweeted right before the speech, the time for complacency with China is over in regards to the allegations the president just made. The headline here is that he has announced that he's declassifying a trove of documents that he claims reveals vulnerabilities in our election system. Those documents are now posted, as you said, on the White House website. The part that you mentioned here about China, where he's alleging that they hacked and gathered voter information on some 200 million Americans over a number of years. That includes names, addresses, voting affiliation. The president says intelligence officials that knew about this did not inform Congress about this. So he is asking intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA to look into this.
I think he's just trying to fuck with the elections, right? Like, simply put, there is no other way to explain what he's doing other than he is going to use this as a just cause. Not only does he want to pass the SAVE Act, which I don't even think he would. I don't think there is enough appetite to pass it. But let's say he does get to pass it. There's not enough time for them to implement this shit within the SAVE Act. So I think because there's only, I mean, the midterms are here, right? The midterms are happening very soon. So it's not even about passing the SAVE Act and then implementing some of those new rules. It's more so about having just cause to intervene in the elections. Midterms are in 4 months, right? Moving that bill through Congress and then signing it into law and then creating the necessary authorities to regulate and federalize elections and demand and this would purge virtually every single American voter from the ballots, right? There is a likelihood that this would actually make the elections favor Democrats more so than Republicans. There's also that reality. So that's part of the reason why Republicans don't want to do this, because they think this is insane. Okay? Because there is also that element here. Democrats at this point are college educated, have passports, have more free time, a higher likelihood of going out and being able to get this new registration done, more on the ball, certainly more involved in wanting to certainly have more motivation to go out and do this stuff so they can fucking elect Democrats as opposed to Republicans. So there is also a real problem for the Republicans if, and this is a big if, this is implemented evenly. Now, of course, it's not going to be implemented evenly because it's never implemented evenly. When he says we want to purge mail-in ballots, that would destroy Utah and Florida and numerous other red states where people rely on mail-in ballots, right? So I assume that this is going to be a selective application situation where he will only, if he were to implement these rules, he would only weaponize them against blue states or blue districts, right? There's no shot that this would be there's no shot that this would be universally applied. And the principle behind it, we've done this before. It's the poll tax, it's the literacy test that you had to take in the Jim Crow South that specifically targeted people who had non-citizen grandparents or non-citizen parents, as in former slaves. So it wouldn't trigger for white people, even if white people were not capable of passing the literacy test either. So the grandfather law was a devious way to selectively apply this to black people, right? So I assume a version of that is going to happen, even if he is capable of implementing something like this. But again, he doesn't have the time frame to be able to do this in the next 4 months. If he just started doing that from this day onward, he would still not be able to change the rules fast enough, right? So what I suspect is that he will just use this as a way to claim that elections are stolen, knowing full well that he's trying to cast some sort of doubt on the integrity of the process right before the midterms, where he's about to get fucking destroyed, right before the midterms where we're about to get destroyed by the Democratic Party. So all Trump has here is to just cast doubt and maybe even potentially do some stuff to harm the process, do some stuff to impede on the process of going out and voting in blue states and in blue districts. Even Fox News is playing it a little safe.
The president made claims that electronic voting machines are vulnerable and easily compromised. Fox News has not seen that evidence yet, is not in a position to evaluate the accuracy of the president's...
I wonder why Fox News is not in a position yet to evaluate the accuracy. Oh, that's right, because you guys did do that, and you got fucking sued into oblivion. That's right. Oh, that's right. You lost $1 billion to Dominion in that fucking lawsuit. Look at that. Even fucking Fox News is playing it safe. Look, man, if I was a Republican in media, by the way, Fox News has already moved on from this big blockbuster speech. They're already talking about the new fucking waves on Iran, just so you understand like how they're dealing with this, right? They briefly mentioned the fact that ABC and CNN didn't show this. MSNBC didn't show the entire speech and how frustrated they were about it. Then they said there's a lot of new information. Oh, it's groundbreaking. And they fucking moved on. Which was another thing that I called. I said that it wasn't going to be as impactful as people claim it is, and it certainly wasn't. It's just a promotion of the SAVE Act. But yes, as Zachary Cohen reported during the speech, the documents Trump is referring to right now, and CNN has reviewed all of them, largely discuss vulnerabilities that have been known for years and or are reflected in the 2021 U.S. Intel Community Assessment. We looked at it earlier today. Okay? None of the declassified information supports the claim that any previous election results, including the 2020 presidential election contest that Trump lost, were manipulated by foreign interference or fraud in any way that would have changed the outcome. The documents and notes Trump is referring to in his speech were largely intended to round up everything in the U.S. government had information about that could potentially be considered per a source with direct knowledge. After analysis, the Intel community decided to either incorporate them in the 2021 Minority Report or assessed, based on verbiage in the documents themselves, were not concrete enough to view as consequential enough, the source said. So as I've already told you, any kind of attempts at any kind of attempts of interference in our elections from foreign adversaries, influence operations, for example, which is real, this does happen, foreign adversaries, Iran, Russia, China, and numerous other countries, and even foreign allies like Israel, which do it openly, will attempt to influence the outcome of American elections. We are the most powerful nation on the fucking planet. Of course, other countries are trying to intervene in our elections. They're trying to influence the outcome of our elections. It's normal, okay? This is a normal thing. However, the intelligence community makes an assessment to see whether or not there was anything that was noteworthy. If there was any influence that came from any of these countries, except for Israel. Israel's influence is very noteworthy, but we don't care about that because Israel is seen as a vestige of America, so they get to do whatever the fuck they want. But all of these other countries, the foreign adversaries specifically, what we look at is the impact that it has. What we look at is the outcome. Is it actually, did it actually change the outcome in any meaningful manner? And the answer is no. It's not. There's obviously more direct forms of intervention, like trying to gain access to, the election systems and things like that. But none of those happened. And what has only happened is like access to ballot registration, things of that nature, according to the initial intelligence community assessment from 2021, that simply showed that China was just monitoring the situation. Donald Trump also then took this a step further in his conversation, which was really funny, where he made it seem like China was paying people to hate Donald Trump. And one word he used, I'm paraphrasing here, that I thought was really funny, and ruin the confidence that people had in your president. That's something along those lines. He says something along those lines, which I thought was funny, because it's basically also like a face-saving operation for him. He's like, oh, people only hate me because Xi told them to. This is the funniest version of Russiagate that could have ever happened, because even liberals that went crazy with the Russiagate stuff because they were coping with the reality that an incompetent man-child like Donald Trump could defeat someone like Hillary Rodham Clinton, that was unfathomable by all these Democrats. So they had to find a reason why Donald Trump won in 2016. They said, oh, it's Russian interference, Russiagate. That's how it started. But at least the Democrats were trying to point to Russian interference and influence peddling. They weren't saying, oh, people hate Hillary Clinton because Russia told them to. This is even funnier. So the Trump version of Russiagate is now Chinagate, but it's even dumber somehow because it's even lower stakes than the Democratic version that was concocted. Also, there was a lot more evidence with the Russia one as opposed to what they're cooking up right now. Mike Nellis says, you have to be a special kind of stupid to believe Democrats were capable of stealing the 2020 election while out of power, but somehow incapable of doing the same in 2024 while in power. That is a categorically, phenomenally dumb thing to believe. Yes, it's also one that I cannot comprehend and understand, as I also pointed out as well. So You know, Donald Trump won the election when a Democrat was in office, when there was no interference. Donald Trump lost the election when he was in office, and then there was interference. Donald Trump won again when another Democrat that he had lost to was in office because there was no interference. None of it fucking makes sense. None of it makes sense. And guess what? It doesn't have to. Number one, it doesn't make sense because our president is a fucking moron. He's a massive narcissist, and he's a fucking moron. Okay. And yes, he is blaming China for his unpopularity, which is fucking phenomenal. Okay. This is the craziest thing that I have ever watched unfold in my entire political career. And I watched January 6th happen in real time. Why am I saying this? It's my last thing I'm going to say before I got to go do the podcast. The reason why this is fucking crazy is because the American government is single-handedly under the control of a narcissistic tyrant who is using all of this unfathomable power that he has consolidated in his hands to, one, enrich his dumbfuck, fail son, inbred family, his close cohorts, the Epstein class, and also to engage the intelligence community in this face-saving operation. To say, people don't like me because China said so. That is fucking insane. At least if you're going to be a corrupt, despotic tyrant, do it for something worthy, something more than yourself, a movement, an idea, a policy. No, he's using all of the forces of the state to basically massage his fucking ego. That is insane to me. Anyway, he's still going to try and steal the fucking midterm elections. On that note, I got to go. I got to do the podcast. And I will see you guys tomorrow from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, heart of empire, belly of the beast, and all that. We're going to have some very fun guests when I'm out there. Love you guys. And, of course, I'll be offering a lot more coverage and a lot more analysis from Washington, D.C. I'll be a little bit later in my broadcast. I'll probably start around like 12, hopefully a little bit, or as early as I can, but it'll probably be around 12. But on that note, that's all I got. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace, everybody.
Stunning lo-fi introduction, starting off the day. All the chatter's trickling in, hostile people hate. Sunny in Los Angeles, California, says Hassan. Stun luck to the stun luck to the topics just begun. 'Cause there he is again, Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. There it is again, Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. Reviewing a Chinese train, telling Kaya place. Sun and Asmin chatter loves, giving Greening's grace. Zoran winning NYC, woke two back with the force. The Rogan of the left, to me a dumb himbo still on course. The Charlie Kirk assassination, the Fear and Online show. 8 full fucking years of this, and plenty more to go. Doing fun stuff tomorrow, throw PBS up on the screen. A man-made horror reaction brought to you by this life's dream. 'Cause there he is again, Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. There he is again, the sun is streaming. The sun is streaming. Kicked out of the DNC, IRL with March the Goat.